Rachell Abalos. Rachell is a Filipino-American kidlit writer. She specializes in contemporary and magical stories about her culture. She has a BA in literature and writing, and she currently lives in Southern California with her husband and 2 kids. Our Nipa Hut is her debut picture book. And then today we're here celebrating Jamie Aurelio Tremblay. Jamie's career as a storyteller truly began in 3rd grade when a very patient teacher helped her write a story about finding a panda in the backyard. She continued chasing this dream through college, earning both her BA in English Literature and MFA in Creative Writing from San Diego State University. Since then, she's been happily lost in the world of words. These days, she ghostwrites romance novels, creates colorful collages in her bullet journals, and experiments with new writing styles, always looking to spin new tales with heart and surprising twists. When she's not clicking away at her keyboard, you can usually find her skipping through Disneyland or curled up with her 2 cats, rewatching nostalgic cartoons. And I am so excited for y'all to hear about Rosie today, and I bring these 2 lovely speakers out.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys all for coming here to celebrate.
They put the short people on the tall chairs.
Jamie's debut novel, Rosie. I'm Rachell Abalos, and Jamie, can you tell us a little bit what Rosie's about?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
We're all here.
So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. Thank you for celebrating my debut with me. I can't believe I'm here doing this. So, Rosie, my debut novel, is about a high school senior named Avery who is going through all the firsts in life. She just got into her first romantic relationship with a boy, and he is kind of urging her toward a closeness that she's not sure she's ready for. And she's also going through all the college prep, and she doesn't even want to talk about her messy home life. But above all that, the biggest thing is her unraveling friendship with her best friend Rosie, who is the titular character. And she doesn't have to do this alone, though. She has help from a surprising source, her childhood toys. And with their whimsical wisdom, they help guide her through this transition into adulthood.
Thank you so much for telling us the summary, and would you mind reading us a little bit of Rosie?
Yes, I'll give you guys just a taste of the story. And for some context, Rosie and Avery are going on a little bonfire, but it is not your typical one. So, for anyone who has the copy who wants to follow along, I'm at the bottom of page 149. So. We would have lost the bet with the boys. It took over an hour for us to get a fire going, and we had to use Rosie's overflowing charisma to get the semi-drunk college-age guys at the pit next to us to help. After another 20 minutes, we were huddled together next to the flames. Rosie claimed that using a bonfire starting kit was cheating. I was just glad to be able to feel my toes again. We listened to the crackling of the burning wood for several moments before Rosie got up on her knees and yanked out the first item, the polar bear. She grabbed the bear in one hand, her small fingers wrapped around its ear. She slammed it down into the flames, causing tiny embers to fly upward. I scooted back, away from the pit. Careful! Rosie gave me an irritated look before blindly grabbing at other items. I stood back, not sure if it was appropriate for me to help her dispose of these sentimental items. If tears weren't running down her cheeks, and she wasn't making tiny, angry noises as she threw her things into the flames, I would have found it kind of funny. Rosie did everything with a dramatic flair. Even when she didn't think anyone was watching her. I once walked in on her cleaning her room. She had the vacuum running and didn't hear me come in. She might have been angry with her mom for making her vacuum that day, but each time she pushed the machine forward, she looked as if she were a sorcerer taming tidal waves. Now, as her and Mason's things burned, I could tell Rosie was holding herself back. She wanted nothing more than to rip stuff from the box and slam them into the fire. Instead, she was moving robotically, her body stiff as she listlessly dropped each item onto the flames. She turned and thrust something soft into my hands. Here, you should throw something in too. I looked down at the fluffy cat keychain and then back up at Rosie's somber face. But this is the first thing he ever gave you. The fat cat plush looked like a lot of my old childhood toys. The fur on the ears was fraying, and the once hot pink color had faded to more of a blush. It was clear that the little thing had been well loved. I knew how much the thing meant to Rosie. She took it everywhere. She moved it from bag to bag. I suddenly imagined that it was Pip that I was clutching in my hands. "You can be honest with me, Avie," she said. "You didn't like Mason. You should be a part of this too." "I'll throw something else in," I protested, trying to give the keychain back to her. Rosie made no move to take it back. "Just do it, Avie. Consider how badly Mason hurt me and bothered you. Throw it in. We're letting go together." That only made me clutch the little cat tighter in my hands. Its beady eyes seemed to bore into mine, the same way Pip's did when he thought I was making some life-changing mistake, or when he knew I was lying. It was both judgmental and compassionate. Rosie's whole body was starting to scream impatience, so I stepped toward the flames. I watched them dance, the orange light creating a halo around the helpless doll. With one more glance at Rosie, I let the innocent toy fall into the pit. I turned away immediately after, though. I stiffened when Rosie wrapped an arm around me. Her hold on me tightened. Doesn't that feel good? I knew I couldn't say no to her. I could never say no to her.
One of the things that drawn me to your book was your writing. It's just really great writing, and I know. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know a lot. First thing people wanted to ask you, what inspired you to write this book?
Okay, so I was inspired to write Rosie after a difficult conflict that I went through with a friend of mine from high school. And I just really wanted to get those raw feelings out on the page. And the hard thing for me to admit now is that I was actually pretty ashamed of how much this relationship affected me and how much this fight affected me. And I felt like I could see it from an outside perspective and imagine what other people would think if I really was honest and told them like how much this was hurting me. And I felt like people would think it's not a big deal, it's just a friend. People, fall apart and they don't always stay friends, that kind of thing. But I thought I was going to write this book and kind of, in a way, validate my own feelings. And it was really during COVID when I had like way too much time to process my own feelings. And I was like, I'm gonna write this. And yeah, that's how it started.
Thank you for sharing that. But there's something interesting about Rosie, this book. It's not just a contemporary book. I know that it centers this friendship, this very real, relatable friendship that, also I felt all the feels reading it. But there's something cool about your book that we don't really see in the cover. Can you tell us that this book, what other genre this book is?
Right.
So that's really important.
Right. So Rosie is a contemporary novel, but it is also a magical realism novel. And for those of you who don't know really what that is, magical realism is a genre that more often than not takes place in our everyday world, and there are fantastical elements that are kind of weaved into it. And what I love about magical realism is the ambiguity of it. So the reader kind of gets to decide, like, are these fantastical elements, is this fantasy, is this actually magic in the story, or is it part of the character's imagination? And I chose magical realism. Well, not really chose it. It actually kind of chose me. I didn't even realize I was really writing a magical realism until the story was done. And I was like, oh, this is magical realism, isn't it? So, but I wanted a way for Avery to communicate with her childhood toys, and I loved that just image and that way of just like really going back to your childhood and like staying connected to that inner child. But I also needed a way to really deeply convey Avery's emotional turmoil and her internal struggles, and magical realism just felt right.
I remember when we were talking about this and you were explaining magical realism, for the young folks, it's like Toy Story vibes. There's Toy Story elements in it. For the little older generation like me, I got Drop Dead Fred. If any of you guys remember Drop Dead Fred, with how that main character, that movie, she was talking to her imaginary friends. That was the same vibes that I got. And can you elaborate with us on the elements of those toys and just the genre itself into your book?
Sure. So, if you know anything about me, I love toys. So I kept so many of my toys. My sister and I just always did that. We never a lot of the time we always didn't open our toys and just kept them in their boxes and just really held on to them. And for Avery's character, her toys are more than just her comfort. She calls them the Council, and they are a group of toys that she goes to for guidance and for help. And each of the toys actually represents a different part of Avery's personality and of her character. So there's a plush beagle toy that may or may not be based off of one of my dogs that I had as a child, and he represents more of the playful side of Avery and just the softer side. And she also has a porcelain doll that she kept in the box, and that represents more of her introspective side, her quieter side, the part that wants to just stay safe and hidden. And she also has a little mouse plush who is kind of the leader of the group, and he is more mature and wise and gives her the more sagely advice. And he is the part that really wants to, the part of Avery that wants to mature and realizes that she has to grow up.
Thank you. And yes, if you guys do want to find out if this is all in her head or if it is actually happening, you're gonna have to pick up the book and read it for yourselves, because you'll be able to binge right through it quickly, because you're on your toes and you're wondering and you get into Avery's head, and it's what I got into the book myself, because just her relationship with these toys and with herself and with what's happening in the real world with her friends and family. So pick up the book and read it for yourself and find out what happens. So now let's talk about the writing process of this. I think it's really interesting for people to find out how it started, your book. How it came to be when you first started writing it. Can you tell us about it? Yeah.
Sure. So Rosie was actually a NaNoWriMo project, and for those of you guys who don't know what that is, it stands for National Novel Writing Month. It is an online challenge that, for reasons I will not go into, does not exist anymore. But so what it basically is it's a challenge for writers to do where they try to complete a novel in a month, or at least 50,000 words, because of the goal. And it took place every November. And so that was toward the end of 2020 that this happened the idea for Rosie sprung up, and I was I really need to get this down. And I think NaNoWriMo was the perfect choice for this, because I really just needed to vomit out all my feelings. And so that November I did 50,000 words in a month, and for the first draft, but it wasn't done at that point. Rosie ended up being just over 73,000 words, so I think I finished the first draft after another month or two, and then edited that, and then I was ready to start trying to send it out to agents. And after dozens of rejections, I was kind of questioning whether I was going to do this. I was maybe people don't really like it, maybe they don't want to read it. But then I was getting attention from it though, and second glances from agents, and they were asking for full requests, and they were saying that they liked it, and that was enough for me to go, okay, maybe there's something here, maybe I can get this out into the world. And so I decided to just send it out straight to publishers without using an agent, and that's how I ended up with Fire and Ice Books, who was a small publisher who decided to publish my book.
I want to mention, as someone who's part of the writing industry, it's super impressive how Jamie got her book into this world, because she got it done herself. That is 100% something admirable that I don't think not many writers, only like writers who know the industry can appreciate it. And I feel like, girl, that's so great. Because you know what? I'm part of, I have an agent. I know about that query trenches, that whole rejection. It takes years and years and years to get noticed. But Jamie said to herself, this book needs to be out there. She reached out to the publisher herself, got it done. That itself is amazing. And you should get more credit for that, because that tells us you really wanted this story out here. And you did it, and you took it into your hands. And really appreciate you sharing that, because that not many people really know that about the publishing world. It's slow, it's
world.
Hard, it's a lot of rejections, but you didn't let that stop you from having people know about this book. And you did mention NaNoWriMo, another feat. Okay, as someone who tried to do it for 9 years, I will admit I have never completed it. She completed it. She completed it, has it in her hands right now. That book that she wrote a whole novel in 1 month. In 1 month. That's, again, she said she hit the 50,000 goals, made it to 73,000 in the next month. Oh, I'm so jealous. So jealous. But there's
Your story is cool too. Come on now.
Thank you. But let me tell you, since we're talking about challenges, there is something that I want everyone to know, because I feel like this is something that should go viral. Please tell us this Disneyland challenge that you did. I want you to tell everybody, because I think this would be great for other budding writers, people to know about the creativity behind Jamie's mind.
Okay, so. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, probably none of you know, and that's kind of how I like it.
I
Maybe
do,
a little
'cause
bit,
I follow
maybe just a
you.
little bit, but okay. I started a challenge at Disneyland where, okay, my husband and I go like twice a month, and we'll get to the point where I was realizing that not just how much time I spent there, but like how much time at Disneyland we were kind of just waiting around, you know? Like you wait at Disneyland, right? You wait for rides in line, and you wait for your mobile food order, you wait for all kinds of things. And I was sitting there, you know, scrolling on my phone and realizing like maybe I should try writing instead of sitting here on my phone and scrolling. So I started doing that. I started bringing a journal so that I could write while I was waiting around at Disneyland. And this challenge that Rachel is talking about is an idea that I had, where I go on different attractions at Disneyland and challenge myself to see how many words I can write on each attraction. And the first one I did was the Disneyland Railroad. And I was like, oh, this is the longest one. It's like a 20-minute long ride, and you're like on a train. And I was like, okay, I think I could write 500 words, like in that 20-minute time span. And I ended up writing 544 words, like doing one full circuit on the train. So yeah.
That's actually, I was gonna say, 544 words again is admirable in 20 minutes, because that's a whole picture book. She just wrote a whole picture book in one sitting on a ride, and I'm like, please show me your ways.
Bolstering me so much.
Let me learn. Let me do that. And now I live close to Disneyland, and I go to, and I did not know about doing this, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna start doing it too. And I was like,
We're gonna do it together.
We're gonna keep writing books on Disneyland and get some of that.
You'll finish your next book there.
I hope so.
We'll do the Jungle Cruise next. You want to do the Jungle Cruise?
No, it is a long one too, and we'll see what kinds of books.
It's gonna be full of puns, probably.
Oh, because that's how they do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is. Oh gosh, we're Disney adults here. Okay,
I'm gonna
let's
call it
move on with this. The artwork. The artwork. Can you tell us about the really nice artwork that came about for Rosie?
Fire and Ice did a great job of pairing me up with a really talented artist. And when I saw the cover for the first time, I was like, oh, that is so cute. But I loved, I feel like I should back up a little. So when you get assigned an artist, a lot of the time they will not read your novel. You just kind of have to tell them what it's about and like tell them the vibe that you're going for. And I did that, and obviously, and I wasn't really quite sure what she would come up with. I gave her very vague, like, I don't want their faces to show. Like, pick a, you know, a kind of, a scene like that, like maybe they're facing away or they're, you know, back to back and looking off somewhere else. And I ended up with this beautiful image, and I love how the braids are like braided together like this, because it has layers behind it, and that really speaks to the story. And I love how at first the braids kind of look sweet and just like a cute like girl bonding kind of thing. Like they're so obviously so close, right? Like they're literally attached to each other. But it's also a little, it goes a bit deeper than that in the story too. And I think the braids really show that as well, because it's also, it's a cute image, but it's also not the most conventional. Like it's a little weird. Like I've never had my hair braided to someone else's before. My hair was braided all the time when I was a kid. And it really speaks to the discomfort of it and the kind of tension in the story. I think really speaks to more of the unhealthy aspects of Avery and Rosie's relationship, and just the ugliness and the tension there. So I really loved that. So she did a good job. Shout out to Redbird Designs.
I agree. I thought it was at first sweet, and then when you start reading the characters, you get a real sense of their closeness and how almost scary, and definitely all the red flags in their relationship, because it's like they're braided, right? That's the imagery we get, but really it kind of also reminds me of being stitched together.
Yes.
Like and then of course with hair, we're talking about this.
Yeah.
It's very fragile, and
Right.
it can fall apart in a thread, and by the hair of the braids. So I love that imagery. How well it fits your.
I love your
book.
use of the word stitch too, because that really brings up like horror images more too, like just the image of image of like voodoo dolls or like wounds being stitched up is like yeah, it's a good word.
Yes, and after you wrote this book, I'd like to know who was your first reader.
Ooh, okay,
Your
this
first reader.
is a fun one. So my husband Jeff actually reads like all of my super early stuff. Like as soon as for Rosie specifically, when I was done with a chapter, I was like shoving it in his face, going, "Please look at this. Please look. What do you think? Is this anything?" But the first person to read the book cover to cover, the first draft of it, is actually a really close friend of mine, Naomi, who's actually here today. Hi. And I distinctly remember after she was done reading it, she came up to me and said, I'm really proud of Avery. And that meant so much to me, because I put the girl through a lot. Like she goes through struggles, she goes through pain, she just goes through all of it. And I felt bad at the end of it. I was like, I'm sorry. So to hear that someone else aside from me was proud of her was really cool. And what's also really cool about Naomi being Rosie's first like cover to cover reader is that she was also my first editor. She was the one. Sorry.
What's
Huh? It'll make sense. I promise. You guys are right in front and center. I'm gonna move you guys to the back. Anyway, she was my first editor. Back when we were active on fanfiction.net, when we were like 12 years old, she would send me deadlines and keep me accountable for my ongoing fanfiction that is like over 100,000 words or something like
Wow.
that. Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
And all of that is free. That you were writing for free.
Not to you guys.
You're
No one's
writing
gonna know what it
for
is.
free. That I do
I
know.
deleted that.
There is no shame in fan fiction, because it got you writing. It got you writing what you really
That's
wanted
true.
to write out.
That's true.
And hey, I love fan fiction. Now, I'm so glad that you started off that too. How funny. Okay, we also know that this is Filipino-American History Month. Yay! Avery is a Filipino-American, and there's barely any Filipino-American representation.
We're getting there.
Yes. And I know can you believe most of the local writers that are writing and getting it published, some of the books, they're from San Diego, because we know Tracy Badu was writing her characters
So
with Filipino-American in it too. But can you tell us how your upbringing affected your writing?
Yeah, definitely. So being Filipino-American means a lot of things to me, but I think that the biggest testament to that aspect of my upbringing is just how family-oriented I have grown to be. I grew up in a large family, and I had the immense pleasure of being able to live with my grandparents my entire childhood, and I got to know so many of my cousins really well. So many of them ended up living with us over the years for a period of time here or there, and it really made me, and I got so close to each of them in a way that you could only really get that close to someone by living with them, and really getting close to that many personalities really made me interested in relationships in general, and just really wanting to capture those relationships on the page. And this aspect of family too just keeps coming up in my writing, like whether I want it to or not, and that is so prevalent in Rosie as well. Like at the end of the novel, when she's like, you know, at the bottom and just the lowest she's ever felt, I hadn't intended on this, but her family comes through for her in a big way, and that's something that I didn't intend, and it just to me really shows that how family is just, you know, always coming to you and helping you out, and always will. So, yeah.
It's true. But coming from a big family, you try to not erase them into your history, because you know we're the writers, we get to choose what we want, but they'll find their way in there. That's how Filipino families are. They always find their way in there.
Wiggle their way
in. They know how to get us there. And anybody here part of Jamie's family? Did you guys find yourself in her book yet? Did you guys read her book and you're like, is that me?
All in the back. Did you guys get here late?
That is so Filipino of you guys. I know. I was watching that door because my Filipino family came late too. I see them. They're hiding out. They're all in there too. But you know what? They pull through. That's what they do. They pull through, and they're here with us. Okay. Big question that I am dying to ask. Okay, because we're getting there, and we're almost ready for the audience to ask. But I need to know, what is next for Jamie? What is next for Jamie? I know we're all about Rosie right now, but because we're gonna support Rosie and we're gonna get Rosie in our hands now. But what's next?
It's so great that you just asked the question about my Filipino upbringing and my family, because the next project that I am currently working on is a series about my cousins. What? Can you? I don't know him. Security. Anyway, this was a heartfelt moment here. I was gonna go into this whole thing about my beautiful series that I'm writing about my cousins, who I love very dearly. Anyway, what I'm working on now is a series about a group of cousins who all have powers based off of the Western zodiac, off of the astrology signs.
Right. I was like, said the same thing.
Yeah, so that's my next project. So be on the lookout for that, I guess. Give me a couple years.
No,
don't call me, I'll call you.
Oh my gosh, when you told me about that, I was like, yes, cousins, Filipino cousins and astrology. That sounds to me another perfect book that's ready for Mysterious Galaxy.
I think I already touched on it too, but the cousin relationship has always just been so unique to me and just so unexplainable, and I was like, oh, maybe if I write it I can explain it a little better. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm super excited for that. I can't wait. And I know you write a lot, so you're definitely getting those words down. Now, for our budding writers that are here and that will let people know about, can you give us an advice for any of us that want to start writing?
Sure. This might sound a little strange, but I would tell aspiring writers to allow yourself to doubt. Allow yourself to have doubts about your books, about your projects, about your writing career, because I think not only does that keep us humble in a way, but I think it gives us a perspective that we wouldn't have looked for otherwise. Like I definitely had doubts while writing Rosie. It was the first like real contemporary project that I had, and I questioned whether it was interesting enough. It was contemporary, but it was also very, very close to me and based off of a lot of my personal experiences, like more so than any of my other projects at this point. And I wondered, are people gonna care about my life, about this stuff that I went through? And it scared me, obviously, but it also forced me to try and remedy that, you know, to pick the parts of my story that I thought would resonate with other people and to really, really let that shine through. And yeah, but obviously don't let the doubts consume you. Don't let it stop you from doing what you love, that kind of thing. But I think if we lean into it though and really understand where it's coming from, we can remind ourselves why we put ourselves through the creative process, why we love to write, why we love to draw, all that kind of thing. And yeah, and just keep going.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm definitely going to take that advice too. Thank you guys all for listening to us at this book talk, grabbing Rosie copy. You know, I know they still have some copies there if you haven't grabbed your copy.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for being here with me. Her book, Our Nipa Hut, is so good. It's a cute children's book about the traditional Nipa huts in the Philippines, and just a cute story about, it really reminds me of Encanto, about the casita. It's really like that, where the house is, I loved how you put this, your house is a member of your family. That's why we take care of it, and it takes care of you, and that is just a theme that's so important. And so, go read her book. Go buy it right now.
Or you can borrow it in the library.
Don't do that.
Request it in the library.
Buy 10.
Oh. Okay, tell us about your newsletter, just so that way they can how to talk to you. You know, be able to know more news about you. Before we open up the Q&A.
You guys didn't know about my YouTube adventures. It's probably because you're not on my newsletter, and I didn't mind that terribly. But I do have a sign-up sheet up here if you guys want to sign up for my newsletter and keep up with me and get random pictures of my cats and of the very exciting house renovations that are going on right now. Trips to Disneyland, all of it. And of course writing. I should have said that first probably. Writing too. Any projects that I'm working on. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am looking at the crowd now and I'm overwhelmed in the best way.
You should take a picture.
Take a picture.
Okay, Q&A before the picture, because we definitely need to take a picture for you. For the newsletter.
I'll let you do
for the
it.
newsletter.
My phone's not.
Okay, maybe we can do a selfie, all of us.
Your age is showing.
I know, I'm old. 1, 2, 3. Any
Yeah, was
questions?
Any questions? Please be shy. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay, well, I'll start off. Book recommendations. Besides my book, thank you for that. But book recommendations.
Only your book. No, I'm kidding. So my current obsession right now is The Hurricane Wars by Thea Kwanzan, also a Filipino writer, and she just hits all the points. Like it's a romantasy. She has the forced proximity in there. She's got the fun banter between the leads. And what's really cool is the mystical island of Nenavar in the series is based off of the Philippines, which is very cool. So go read that. There's 2 books in the series so far. The Hurricane Wars, Monsoon Rising, and the 3rd one, which I actually don't know the name of. But I am very excited for it. Yeah, not out yet. So yeah, go read that.
Any other? Oh,
read Rachel's book first.
What got you into writing?
Ooh. I got into writing when I was in the 3rd grade. It was actually a series by Avi, the Poppy series. It's about a little mouse who just goes on adventures in the woods. And I feel like that was the first series that really made me long to write my own adventures. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question.
No, that's a great. I was like, what book inspired you to write? But
Oh.
thank you.
Oh, you did mention.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually
okay.
that was it. Yeah. I guess after the Poppy series,
I love that series. The Poppy
heck
series.
yeah. I need to give it a good like reread. Anyway, but another book that really got me into writing and just arts in general is Tess the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. Yeah, it's such a classic. But I've always loved Hardy's writing. It's funny because I realized that I was like picking up a little bit on his writing style. He's very known for being like long-winded. I think he spends like a page and a half or something like describing like a pit in the ground, and we were all like making fun of it, you know, as like 10th graders at the time. But I like loved that scene, and I was like, wow, I'm so captivated by this hole in the ground. I think make people captivated into anything.
I don't. Well, you know what? That kind of just reminded me when you wrote a kissing scene that I was like, wow, I am so that. But
I
that
know what
was
she's talking about.
I read it and I was like, wow, this is super long about this one single kiss, and I'm just like so detailed. And then but I know you purposely did that. You purposely did that to make me uncomfortable as a
Just for
reader.
you.
But it was, now I see it where you got your inspiration.
Speaking of kissing scenes, what's the age group for the book?
Oh,
Just for my kids.
they're YA, so it's high school. Yeah,
Okay.
and a little bit. I guess new adult too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking too. No, it's high school appropriate.
Yeah, high school appropriate.
High school appropriate.
See, you heard it here. You heard high school appropriate.
Yeah, high school. And I was a school librarian, so I know where it should belong. It won't belong to my little ones yet, but
You got that right on the camera.
high school appropriate. It's high school appropriate. But I will say it does have that new adult vibes, and the way she writes so beautifully. It kind of feels a little bit older too, because just the way the writing is really, you're not writing. You obviously didn't write it like you were in high school, but you got all those feelings out there, and I would say that's a good way to put it. It's young, like older young adult with a little bit of new adult, but also age appropriate. It's PG. Yeah. There's nothing in there that makes me. Like there's other YA novels out there that are very graphic with the language and the violence and that's in high schools, but this one's definitely appropriate for not middle grade, but definitely high school.
Definitely not.
Gotta be able to PG-13 and above. Yeah, PG-13.
You heard it here. I swear.
But also the adults too can read it, and especially read it for their good writing, because she uses a lot of big words there.
I don't even know why
For
they
high
put
schoolers.
water here. I can't drink all
You probably did really well on your SATs with those vocabulary words that first
English
first
was
line.
the highest for
Yeah,
sure.
so I was like, there's a lot of good words in there for the high schoolers to like. Oh, this is a SAT word. So
Study for your SATs, I guess,
with your book. Any other questions? Okay. How about an uncomfortable question? One quick, semi-uncomfortable. Is Rosie real? Tell us about Rosie, the real Rosie. What's up?
Was that you? Rosie is based off of a real person. I almost said a real character. A real person. She is a character, actually. So she's got that going for her. But it's funny because Rosie started out as very much inspired by this person, but over time she became her own character, which, is how it should be. And one of those things too that I definitely did not intend, but there are definitely points in the story, or like reading over it and editing it again, where I was like, oh, that person would have never done that or had never said that. So while Rosie is based off of someone, she also is very, very different and very much her own person. You're right, that was slightly uncomfortable. You'll probably tell by the silence.
Well,
Right before I was like,
I'm trying to prep you in case once you go to the Filipino families, your titas are gonna be like, "Who's Rosie? Who's Rosie?" Tell us when you get it. We know which one of us is Rosie. So that way, I'll just save you from having to explain to your titas and stuff.
That.
I know they want to know. They want to know.
They're here now, staring.
It is true. That's exactly what I wanted to do too.
Oh my gosh.
Any other questions? And you guys ready to get your book signed and buy her book?
How you guys feeling?
You
still
guys
braiding
showed
your
up.
hair?
How nice.
You still braiding your hair?
Sometimes. Is that a problem? Not like this. No.
Is that Tito?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Tito.
Oh yeah. Obviously.
Hi, Tito.
Uncomfortable kind of question.
Yes, that's a good question. Do you still braid your hair?
Ask questions during the signing line if you don't want to ask in front of everybody.
Oh, that's true.
I might answer that. No, I'm just kidding. I'll answer.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you so much,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
And thank you, Mysterious Galaxy, for hosting this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming out. Okay, so one more quick round of applause to do the transition. And then, if you would like to get a book signed, I will help that happen.
Party, thank you. Is she here? Oh. She's hiding over there. To my brother Emilio, who sadly could not make it today, who was there to give me a break when I needed it most. To my best cousin forever, Caroline, who also could not be here, for literally being my most enthusiastic cheerleader. Huge thanks and hugs to my friends Naomi and Clarissa, who have read my middle school anime fanfics and still associate themselves with me. Love you guys! And of course, to my husband Jeff, who was there during the highest highs and lowest lows of writing this book. I love you. Where are you? And everyone who's here, you're here because you're close to me and you mean a lot to me. And if you're here, you have inspired my writing in one way or another, so thank you.